20 electric vehicles have been killed in America in about 18 months. Not delayed, not paused. Dead, pulled from showrooms, canceled before launch, or wiped off a company's roadmap entirely. In some cases, after billions of dollars had already been spent building them. Today, I am walking through the EV graveyard. Every electric vehicle confirmed dead, counting up to the biggest casualty in automotive history. Some of these were bad cars, some were excellent, and a few never got to be either. Let's get into it. We start with the two vehicles most people never knew existed. The Chevrolet BrightDrop 400 and 600 electric delivery vans. BrightDrop launched as its own brand, GM's answer to the commercial electrification boom everyone assumed was coming. Fleet operators were going to buy these by the thousands. The reasoning went because delivery routes are predictable, mileage is high, and fuel savings compound fast. On paper, it was the most logical EV use case in the industry. The reality was brutal. GM paused production multiple times because it could not find enough buyers, then folded the standalone BrightDrop brand into Chevrolet and renamed the vans. Neither move worked. Late last year, GM canceled both outright, citing development of the commercial electric van market that had gone, in its own words, much slower than expected. The lesson here is the one that runs through this entire video. Commercial buyers purchase on spreadsheet math and nothing else. And when the incentives disappeared, the math died with them. Regular viewers saw the same story in the Ford E-Transit's 88% collapse. The delivery van was supposed to be the easiest EV sale in America. It turned out to be one of the hardest. Number 11 is a pair that never made it to an American showroom at all. The Kia EV4 sedan and the EV9 GT. The EV4 was supposed to be Kia's affordable electric sedan, a genuinely important product in a market starving for EVs under $40,000. Its American launch has been shelved indefinitely. The EV9 GT was the high-performance version of Kia's three-row family flagship, and it was canceled outright. What makes this pair interesting is what it says about how automakers are pruning right now. Kia is not retreating from EVs. The brand's electric sales are up year over year. The EV9 grew 35% last quarter, and the affordable EV3 is arriving before Christmas. This is not a company in crisis. It is a company being surgical. Kill the low-volume performance trim, delay the sedan into a segment nobody is buying, and put every dollar behind the crossovers that sell. That surgical approach is why Kia looks healthy, while Honda and Stellantis do not. The brands that survive this correction are the ones cutting the right things instead of everything. And for buyers, it means the EV4's absence is a genuine loss. An affordable electric sedan is exactly what the American market needs and still does not have. Number 10 did not just die. It took the entire brand's American identity with it, the Jaguar I-Pace. Regular viewers met this car 2 videos ago as the worst depreciating vehicle in America, down 72% in 5 years. The steepest of anything in a study covering hundreds of thousands of used cars, gas and electric alike. Now here it is again, and the two facts are the same fact. The I-Pace arrived as a genuine technical showcase. It beat the Tesla Model X to market in its segment, won awards, and proved a legacy luxury brand could build a credible electric SUV. Then it aged the way every early EV aged. The range that looked competitive at launch looked ordinary within 3 years, and the charging speed looked slow. It got lapped by the technology it was built to demonstrate. But the death blow was strategic. Jaguar ended production and is repositioning the entire brand at a dramatically higher price point, with new models starting around $130,000. That is roughly $50,000 more than the F-Pace ever asked. So the company did not just discontinue a model. It walked away from the segment, the price point, and effectively the customer. For anyone holding an I-Pace right now, that is the harshest position on this entire list. The brand that built your car has left the neighborhood. Dealer support shrinks, parts availability becomes a long-term question, and no new model arrives to anchor the value, which is exactly how a car ends up losing 72%. Number 9 is a lineup that got gutted from both ends. The Dodge Charger Daytona R, T, and the SRT Banshee. Dodge made one of the boldest bets in the industry, replacing the Charger and Challenger nameplates with a single all-electric package. Then the market answered. The 496 horsepower RT, the entry point to the whole lineup, was discontinued after a single model year, with Dodge officially calling it postponed while it assesses tariff policy on the Canadian-built car. And the SRT Banshee, the Halo model, around 1,000 horsepower, 800-volt architecture, a 2-speed transmission, was canceled before anyone outside the company drove one. That leaves the Daytona lineup as exactly one trim, the Scat Pack. A performance brand launched an electric flagship, then deleted its affordable version and its Halo version inside 2 years. The numbers behind it are stark. In the first quarter of this year, the gas charger outsold the electric version 7-1, with Daytona sales down 88%. And as I covered on the discontinuation watch list, the gas-powered six-pack is now arriving on the same platform, in the same factory, wearing the same body. For buyers, this is why the Scat Pack carries $15,000 to $20,000 off sticker. You are looking at the surviving trim of a gutted lineup whose replacement is already in production. Lease it or buy it with full warranty and let Stellantis hold the risk. Number 8 is an electric pickup that Stellantis canceled before a single customer took delivery. The Ram 1500 Rev. This one was supposed to be the answer to the F-150 Lightning and the Silverado EV. Ram promised enormous range, serious towing, and a 229 kilowatt-hour battery option that would have been among the largest ever fitted to a production truck. It was shown, it was promoted, it had a launch date, and then it was killed outright. The context makes the decision obvious in hindsight. Stellantis took the largest EV write-down in industry history at $27 billion, forced out its CEO, and abandoned electric targets across Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram. Meanwhile, the electric truck segment was collapsing around it. The Lightning discontinued, the Hummer down 56%. Cybertruck demand cooled. Launching a brand new electric pickup into that market would have been lighting money on fire in public. What survives is the range extender version, the Ramcharger, which pairs a gas generator with an electric drivetrain. And that pivot is the tell for where the whole industry is heading. Ford is doing the same thing with the next generation Lightning. The pure electric full-size pickup, the vehicle everyone was certain would define this era, is quietly being replaced by hybrids wearing electric badges. Number 7 is not really one vehicle. It is the quiet erasure of an entire sub-brand. The Mercedes-Benz EQB and the EQ name that died with it. The EQB was the affordable entry point to Mercedes electrification, around $53,000 for a 3-pointed star with a third row aimed squarely at families who wanted the badge without 6-figure money. It was discontinued, and what remains on dealer lots is finite clearance stock. But the bigger story is what Mercedes did next, and regular viewers heard me flag it on the discontinuation watch list. Look at how the company names its new electric cars. The electric GLC is not called an EQC. It is the GLC with EQ technology. The upcoming electric C-Class will be an electric C-Class, not an EQC sedan. Mercedes has walked back the entire strategy of giving electric vehicles separate identities, folding them back into the nameplates buyers already trust. That is a company admitting a branding mistake at enormous cost. The EQ badge was supposed to signal the future. Instead, it signaled something different and unfamiliar, and buyers treated it accordingly, which is exactly why the EQE landed on my worst depreciation list at 59% and why the EQS keeps appearing on discontinuation watch lists. For a used shopper, that creates real opportunity. These are legitimately excellent cars. Quiet, beautifully built, deeply comfortable, wearing a badge the manufacturer itself has abandoned. The discount is a branding failure, not an engineering one. Number 6 is 3 vehicles from one company, and together they tell the story of a full retreat. The Volkswagen ID4, the ID Buzz, and the ID7. Start with the ID7. It was the electric sedan Volkswagen showed off globally, promised to America, and then canceled for this market before it ever arrived. Then, the ID Buzz, the electric microbus revival. The most charming vehicle in the entire segment, the one that makes strangers wave, was paused for 2026 with a promised but unscheduled return. And the ID4, Volkswagen's volume electric crossover and the vehicle the Chattanooga plant was built around was dropped from the American lineup entirely. That is the sedan, the halo, and the volume seller, gone within about a year. The ID4's death was self-inflicted in a way the others were not. Regular viewers know the history. Electronic door handles that could let doors open while driving. A battery defect recall covering nearly 44,000 vehicles. Owners told to park outside and avoid fast chargers. And a software fix that in some cases fried the steering wheel electronics during installation. It finished with 349 days of inventory and one of the worst depreciation rates of any mainstream EV. What is left for Volkswagen in America is essentially nothing electric, at a company that spent years telling everyone the ID family was its future. And regular viewers know the buyer angle by now. A properly sorted ID4 with every recall closed is one of the cheapest ways into a spacious electric crossover. Run the VIN, and only the VIN decides whether it is a bargain or a mistake. Number 5 is the freshest death on this list, and it lands directly on a car we just covered, the Genesis Electrified G80. Genesis has confirmed the Electrified G80 is no longer offered in North America. It vanished from the company's website. The planned refresh with a longer wheelbase and a 27-inch OLED display will never reach American buyers. And the company's statement was the corporate standard about adapting to changing market conditions. The sales figures explain everything. This car peaked at around 1,300 sales in its best year. In one recent month, Genesis sold 10 of them nationwide. 10. Monthly sales were down 77% year over year. Add a 15% tariff on South Korean-built vehicles and a starting price that pushed past 6 figures in some markets, and the math stopped working entirely. Here is the continuity that makes this entry sting. On the depreciation video, the electrified G80 ranked second worst in America, losing around 65% of its value in 5 years. And I pointed out that its own gas-powered twin, sitting in the same showroom, held value far better. Now we know the ending. The gas G80 survives, the electric one is dead, and the market called it before Genesis did. What survives is the electrified GV70, assembled here in America, and Genesis says its electric future runs through SUVs. The sedan experiment is over. Number 4 has the most brutal number in this entire video attached to it, the Nissan Ariya. 36 units sold across an entire quarter nationwide, not 3,600. 36 vehicles in 3 months across all 50 states, roughly one Ariya every 2.5 days, in a country of 340 million people. Regular viewers know that figure from the Q2 flops video, where it took the number 1 spot by a distance nothing else came close to. The context matters. Nissan stopped importing the Ariya for the 2026 model year, so those 36 sales were the last crumbs of leftover inventory trickling off dealer lots. This was a discontinuation in slow motion, rather than a demand collapse in real time. But that framing is what makes the Ariya the defining death on this list. It never got a fair fight. Nissan teased this vehicle for more years than it existed. It arrived as a decent electric crossover, with a genuinely upscale interior, a sliding center console, and 205 to 289 miles of range, depending on trim. Then it was undone by everything outside the car. Import tariffs that wrecked its pricing, efficiency that trailed rivals, no one-pedal driving, and a badge that never convinced EV shoppers. Cumulative sales reached about 35,000 units before Nissan pulled the plug after 3 model years. And the deeper crisis is what the Ariya's death reveals about Nissan. The company that built the first mass-market EV in America now has 1 electric vehicle left, a leaf that it cannot import fast enough because of tariff caps and battery shortages. 1 EV dead, the other starved. That is not a lineup. That is a holding pattern. Number 3 is the death that hurt the most symbolically, the Ford F-150 Lightning. This was not a niche experiment or a compliance car. It was an electric version of the best-selling vehicle in America, from the company that built its identity on trucks. And when it launched, it felt like the moment the transition became real. Reservations poured in. Ford expanded the plant. The Lightning won awards, drew enormous press and gave the electric truck category its credibility. Then, reality arrived. Ford lost roughly $19 billion on its EV division. The Lightning turned out to be too big, too expensive, and not what most American truck buyers wanted from an electric vehicle. Production was cut, then paused, then ended at the close of last year. By the second quarter of this year, Ford was selling just over 2,400 Lightnings from remaining inventory, part of an EV lineup down 57% overall. What comes next tells you where the industry landed. The next generation Lightning will not be a pure EV. It becomes a range extender, carrying a smaller battery and an onboard gas generator, closer in concept to the Ram charger than to the truck it replaces. And Ford's real electric bet moved to a $30,000 mid-size pickup on its new universal platform arriving next year from Kentucky. So the electric F-150 as America knew it is dead. And the lesson Ford paid $19 billion to learn is now shaping every truck program in the industry. Go smaller, go cheaper. Or add a gas engine and stop pretending. Number two is the pair that started all of this, the Tesla Model S and the Model X. The Model S is the car that ended the argument. Before it, electric vehicles were golf carts and compliance projects. After it, they were something people wanted. It made electric aspirational, it made Tesla a real company, and every vehicle in this graveyard exists because the Model S proved the category could work. The Model X brought the Falcon Wing doors, 3 rows, and the idea that an electric SUV could be a family's only car. Both are now discontinued. And the numbers underneath make it understandable. In its final years, the Model S started north of $100,000, in a market where the Model 3 and Model Y do 97% of Tesla's volume. Tesla is a company built on scale, and the flagships stopped contributing to it. Regular viewers know how badly the market punished them too. The Model X lost around 62% of its value in 3 years. The Model S around 66%, both landing on my worst depreciation list because Tesla's own price cuts kept resetting the floor beneath them. Here's what makes this death worth pausing on. The Model S also holds the durability record for the entire industry. The highest mileage electric vehicles on Earth are Model S sedans, including one past 1 million miles and an airport taxi that crossed 430,000 on its original battery and motors. The car that proved EVs could last is being retired while it is still proving it. So the used market becomes the only market, and a well-kept Model S with documented battery health is now one of the most capable vehicles per dollar anywhere, precisely because its own maker walked away from it. And the biggest casualty in the EV graveyard is not a vehicle. It is a company's entire electric future, Honda. Count the bodies. The Acura ZDX discontinued after essentially 1 model year. The Honda Prologue, its production ending this year with sales concluding at the 2026 model year. The 0 Series SUV and the 0 Series Saloon both canceled before launch. Vehicles that were meant to be Honda's first true in-house EVs, built in Ohio, running a new operating system, less than a year from going on sale. The Acura RSX crossover, part of the same Ohio program that was shut down. And the Afeela, the Sony partnership, gone with them. 5 electric vehicles, plus a joint venture, plus a platform, plus an operating system. Reported figures for the write-down range from roughly $15 to $21 billion, depending on what gets counted. Either way, one of the largest product cancellations in automotive history. And here is the part that makes Honda the #1 entry rather than just another retreat. When the Prologue's remaining inventory clears, Honda will hold 0 electric vehicles in the American market. Not a reduced lineup, 0. It becomes the first major automaker to fully exit American EVs at a company that publicly promised to be all electric by 2040. The bitter detail is that the Prologue was never a failure. It sold over 82,000 units and reached 6th best-selling EV in the country in its first full year. It was killed by a corporate decision, not by customers, and by GM moving on from the platform underneath it. Honda's own explanation is the honest one. Demand shifted, hybrids are printing money, and the company redirected everything toward the CR-V, Accord, and Civic hybrids that are selling faster than it can build them. Rational on every spreadsheet. And somewhere out there, a family that bought a Prologue 2 years ago on Honda's electric promises watched that promise end in a dealer memo. 20 vehicles and the same 4 forces killed almost every one of them. The tax credit died, and with it, the math that made half these vehicles viable. Tariffs hit imported EVs and killed the Ariya and the electrified G80 outright. Hybrids took over because buyers who wanted efficiency without charging anxiety found a better answer sitting in the same showroom. And technology moved faster than product cycles. So cars like the I-Pace aged into obsolescence before their loans were paid off. But notice who is still standing. Kia pruned 2 models and kept growing. Hyundai's Ioniq 9 was the fastest growing EV in the country last quarter. Toyota's electric sales are up 90%. BMW is selling every iX3 it can build. This is not the death of electric vehicles. It is a correction sorting the committed from the opportunistic. And every company in this graveyard bet on a subsidy instead of a customer. For buyers, the graveyard is also a bargain bin. Discontinued models carry the deepest discounts in the market, and the ones with strong parts networks behind them, the Prologue with GM hardware underneath, the ID4 with Volkswagen's dealer network, are legitimately smart buys. Just know which kind of orphan you are adopting before you sign. I am Nick, this has been Nick's Car Review, and I will see you in the next one.